Happy St. Patrick's Day a day early. So this last year, I've heard people say so many things about how hard it was and how difficult it was. But let me tell you what, I learned a lot of things this last year, learned a lot of things about myself. And one of the things I learned is I can actually read a recipe and make it work if I concentrate on what I'm doing. So I'm going to make Irish soda bread, not because it's something that I've done all my life and it's one of my favorite recipes, but because I made it 2 days ago, it came out pretty good, and it's Irish, and this is St. Patrick's Day, so that's what we're gonna do. Now, I want you to see, these are the products that I use to get it ready, but there are certain things you do not need to see. You do not need to see me measure out 4.5 cups of flour with our cool measuring cups into our cool bowl. But one of the first thing we have to do is the egg. Now, here's a fun fact. You do not have to put an egg in Irish soda bread. It makes it a little lighter and it makes it a little fluffier, but it is not necessary. So if you don't want an egg, that's fine. And we're going to use some buttermilk, and you just kind of whisk those together. And here's another fun tip. Oh, okay, here's another fun tip while you're whisking your egg and your buttermilk together, right? If you don't have buttermilk, because I didn't always have buttermilk in the refrigerator. My granddad drank buttermilk, but me not so much. But if you need buttermilk for a recipe and you don't have it, you can put a teaspoon of lemon juice or white vinegar and a cup of milk together, and let it set for 5 minutes after you whisk it together, and it will work for buttermilk in your recipe. So just in case you ever need to know that, there you go. Now we've got our flour here, and we're just going to dump this in a bowl. This is one of our Vatsa bowls, and this is a whole pile of Vatsa bowls. This is like a great stack of Vatsa bowls. There's even 2 little bitty ones. I used one of these to do the egg and the milk. Doesn't matter what color they are, they're amazing. And they're great for everything. So, and then our Shirley Elegant. These things are so cool. I think they're clearly elegant, sheer, clear, but I put all the other dry ingredients, and all this soda bread takes is flour, baking soda, sugar, and salt, and then the egg and milk. That's it. So we're going to put this together, and you just kind of mix it up so that it's all together there like that, right? Then we've got some butter. And this is another, I learned all this stuff today, okay? So you can Google anything and find stuff out. So these are our freeze-it containers, and this is 5 tablespoons of butter in little cubes. And you need to put that in there, and you're supposed to cut the butter into the flour. Now you can use a pastry cutter, you can use a fork, you can use your fingers, but Google says that the colder the butter, the less crumbly your flour mixture will be. So it said if you could freeze the butter ahead of time, that was a great thing to do. So it is.
What kind of butter are you using?
I am using Kerrygold Irish butter, which is amazing and kind of an interesting fact, okay? Kerrygold Irish butter does not taste like any other butter in the world. And if you've never had it, go ahead and splurge and get some, especially if you have hot Irish soda bread to eat it with. Okay, so we're going to put that in there now. We're going to add the raisins. Raisins are optional, but I think they're really supposed to be in Irish soda bread. So we're putting them in there. I am not a big raisin fan, but that's okay. Because I actually ate some of the Irish soda bread the other day with the raisins in it, and I didn't even mind the raisins. When I tell you I don't eat raisins, I mean I don't eat raisins. Now, here's where the fun starts, guys. This is like Play-Doh for adults. Because now we've got this flour mixture in here with the raisins, and we're going to take the milk and the egg and put it in there. I'm going to move some of this out of the way. Just going to take one of our cool kitchen utensils, our flat spoon, and you just mix this up enough to where it starts to get. There's no yeast in this, so you don't have to wait for it to raise. You just make sure that the flour is just getting a little bit of that milk mixture in there, so it's getting wet. And then, making quite the mess. We're going to take a cutting board. This is a Tupperware cutting board. I love everything Tupperware, right? And I am going to take a little bit of flour real quick, okay? This is some milk and butter. I'm going to put it in the microwave just for a few seconds, like 15. Find the right buttons, right? Okay. Just to melt that, because we are going to spread that on top of this before we put it in the oven, just because it helps it brown a little bit. So we have this now. I am going to do this adult Play-Doh thing here. I am going to take a little bit of flour and put it on this cutting board. So we're going to put this mixture in there. I'm going to take a little bit more flour. I'm going to put it on my hands because it'll stick otherwise. So then we're just going to take this, mix it up a little bit with your hands. Take your rings off before you do this, just as a personal favor to yourself, because it won't hurt your rings, but you will spend the next day getting everything out of it. So we're just going to turn this out on this cutting board. There we go. And you just kind of play with it for a few minutes. This is great for your kids. Your kids will love doing this. Like I said, it's like Play-Doh for adults. And you really don't have to do a lot to it. Just make sure that that flour is mixed up in your dough. And you're going to make it into kind of a ball. Just like this. So you don't need a loaf pan for this. You don't have to make it look absolutely beautiful because it comes out so cool. And it's flaky. It's like powdery. So you might think, well, I need to knead it more, but don't. Because if you knead it too much, it gets tough. And you don't want tough bread. That's no good. Now, real quick, I'm going to see if Jim will come over here. And I know he will.
What am I sure?
I just need you to grab this baking sheet with the silicone mat on it so I can put this on there, but I have this stuff all over my fingers. So, all right, so we're just going to, thank you. We got our silicone mat on there, and with our silicone mats, you don't have to grease anything. You don't have to worry about anything. We're just going to slide it off right onto there. All right. And, well, this is great. Remember when you were a kid, you used to play with like glue and Play-Doh and stuff like that? That's what this reminds me of. Now, Play-Doh and all, we're going to cut an X right in the middle and go down kind of deep. This makes it bake even, and it gets it down all the way in there. So, and the only other thing we have left to do, I really have to wash some of this off. So this would go great with Irish stew, or even cabbage, butter. I mean, it's just really good stuff. And we're going to take our butter mixture. Actually, just going to kind of pour it over the top here, because it's just going to help it brown. So this goes in the oven, 400 degrees in the oven for 40 minutes. But for the last 15 minutes, you put like a tent of aluminum foil over the top to keep it from getting too brown on the top. So the reason I went first was because we should have time to come back and you should be able to see it finish whenever it comes out of the oven. Look at this.
Woo.
Oh, yummy.
Isn't that so pretty? Yes,
That is so pretty.
Yeah, you can see the silicone mat is not sticking.
Yeah.
Hold it up. Oh, it's crispy on the outside and super soft on the inside. I love it. I had
And
one.
look how clean it comes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look at that. I mean, seriously, you just rub it off, literally.
Yep.
You guys see that?
Music for that.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great night.
Bye.